ever wonder if there is more to this great big floating ball that we live on? Probably not, but it's fun to think about sometimes. I think we all have that secret wish that a call to adventure will fall in our lap and break us out of that cynical cycle that is the 9 to 5 pre-COVID-19 life. As the virus continues to wreak havoc in our lives, now more than ever is the best time for some escapism, to fantasize about being part of something greater than the world we're familiar with. Amanita Design, of Machinarium fame, takes us on a subterranean journey filled with mystery, avian creatures, and a giant scary monster, all of which the protagonist will cross paths with as he explores a massive, rickety Gothic-style mansion. What should have been an ordinary evening spent reading turns into the adventure of a lifetime. Our nameless, voiceless protagonist stumbles upon a world he never knew after an earthquake exposes a hidden tunnel in his house that leads far underground, where a crumbling mansion is frequently assaulted by some unseen monster. With no other reason than, hey, let's see where all this goes, the protagonist makes his descent into the immense labyrinthine mansion filled with rooms of a convoluted design meant to, ward off trespassers? That would surely explain the many security systems and traps that come to define each room of the house. I mean, as the owner, I'd hate to be forced into meticulously navigating these rooms just to go to the bathroom. Getting in the player's way is a network of puzzle mechanics and harmful denizens that can kill our hero without a shred of mercy. Each room in the game possesses cerebral challenges designed around the mechanics of manipulating enemy movements to your advantage, creating a clear, unobstructed path to the next area. The rooms inside the mansion test your ability to find a safe way out before robot dogs, ethereal jellyfish, and sly doppelgangers have a chance to kill you. Many of the areas you'll encounter are broken up into multi-level rooms with numerous switches and pressure pads that trigger effects, like opening up new paths, turning lights on and off, and dropping short bridges. The core conceit is learning how to use these mechanisms to exploit enemy AI, forcing them into the right path of lights that trigger a special metamorphosis that lets you reach higher areas as well as weigh down pressure pads. Creaks kicks things off pretty easily, introducing light challenges to get your feet wet before more and more complex situations challenge your ability to think 2 and 3 moves ahead. And just when you've gotten comfortable, a host of new challenges and enemies forces you to rewire your thought process. There's a proper feeling of satisfaction earned after figuring out how a room's puzzles work. The practice of trial and error is strong here because you're presented with rooms that offer no contextual explanation for what you're about to encounter, opting instead to throw you right into the thick of it all. Expect to die often as you play around with the puzzle elements and test the limits of enemy movement as you start developing the big picture thinking needed to succeed. And when it all comes together, after you've connected all the dots and identified the pattern of things, you're treated to that dopamine-rich aha moment of a job well done, leaving you refreshed and revitalized for what lies ahead. For about the first hour or so, I managed to ride that high through scene after scene that kept me excited to find out what obstacle waits just past the next hallway. After that, though, the thrill plateaued because about that time I noticed that the game really doesn't deviate from its formula. The inclusion of doppelgangers is nifty because of their ability to mimic the player's movements, but the end goal is the same: get them to push switches for you and also get caught under light fixtures. Creaks was built using an evocative art style that blends the curious architecture of Tim Burton with hints of Edward Gorey's unique illustrations. The characters, both the protagonist and a curious group of avian creatures that, despite not being able to communicate, are expressive enough to deliver a basic understanding of how they try to deal with the creature that torments them. The look of the mansion itself is pretty nifty, with each puzzle room taking on some form or another, but just like the puzzles themselves, the environments just end up blending together and lose their sense of wonder over time. As far as puzzle platformers are concerned, Creaks doesn't quite break the mold. It makes a fun first impression through a neat call to adventure, but it wasn't long before I developed a wandering eye. Throwing in new obstacles injects excitement when things get overly familiar, but the trick eventually loses its luster. Creaks stands out by its beautiful art style, especially when it comes to the various paintings found throughout the mansion. Amanita Design has made a puzzle game that offers just enough accessible cerebral challenges. Though by no means a poorly constructed piece of software, Creaks' minimalist approach to gameplay is entertaining in the moment, but doesn't quite leave much of a lasting impression. DarkStation gives Creaks 3.5 stars.